Shalom, Chavarim. We continue with Matthew chapter 23. Yeshua then spoke with the crowds and with his disciples, and he said to them, "The scribes and the Pharisees sit on the throne of Moshe. Therefore, everything that they say to you that you should keep and do, but not according to their deeds, for they talk but do not. And they bind heavy burdens and place them upon the shoulders of the sons of men, but they do not desire to touch them with their fingers. And they do all their deeds that they might be seen by sons of men." Might be seen, haha. "For they widen their tefillin and lengthen the techelet of their robes." So let's look at some of the footnotes. 208. The Aramaic word corseia, Hebrew cognate kise, see Genesis 41:40, specifically means throne, exactly as in the Aramaic portion of Daniel 7:9. Yeshua is clearly describing a seat of judgment that implies Yahweh's authority. So while Yeshua vigorously rebukes the scribes and the Pharisees for rebellion, hypocrisy, and their man-made traditions that make void the Torah, he also recognizes them as the rightful inheritors of Torah-based halacha, applying the word of Yahweh to our lives. That would include the ancient priesthood calendar that the Pharisees followed for keeping the feasts. There are no accounts in the New Testament or in Jewish history of Yeshua or the apostles departing from the calendar that the Pharisees sanctified. Yeshua and the apostles routinely taught in synagogues of the Pharisees and in the temple and observed the Moedim, set times, in unity. For more information on the calendar Yeshua sanctified, please consult Wheel of Stars in appendix. A very late and unattested reading in Shem Tov Matthew states, "Everything he, Moshe, tells you to do, do it." This rendering is nonsense. Yeshua would not mention Moshe when the scribes and the Pharisees are they who sit in Moshe's seat. Peshitta and Greek texts agree that since the Pharisees sit in Moshe's seat, they should teach Moshe, but instead they elevate their oral traditions above Torah. The fact of the matter is, if they would actually study Torah, they would know Yeshua is Mashiach. Yeshua returns to this point in John 5:46-47. Okay, now 210, the tefillin. Those are leather box straps containing Bible verses that traditional observant Jews bind on their arms and forearms during daily prayer, except on Shabbat, Deuteronomy 6:8. Okay, and 211, the ribbon of blue of the tzitzit fringes as commanded in Numbers 15:38. Techelet can also refer to tzitzit or even the whole prayer shawl or talit. Okay, verse 6. And they love the chief places at festivals and the chief seats at the assembly, and a greeting in the streets, and to be called rabbi by men. But you should not be called my great one, for there is only one who is great, and you are all brothers. And do not call yourself father, for your father is one who is in heaven. And you should not be called leaders, because one is your leader, the Mashiach. But he who is greatest among you, let him be a servant to you. For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of heaven before the sons of men. For you are not entering yourselves, and those who would enter you do not allow to enter. Okay, so footnote 212. Aramaic here does not mean rabbi as in teacher per se, as in Matthew 28, Yeshua commands his disciples to teach the world. Instead, Yeshua is addressing the more literal meaning of Rav, which is great, as shown in Genesis 6:5. The wickedness of man was great on the earth. The previous 8 verses teach against elitist behavior. So do not be called my great one, for you have one that is great, Yahweh. This is directed to the rabbis, leaders themselves, not to the followers. Certainly, this does not win popularity among the rabbis. See Rabbinical Authority and Torah in Appendix. The prohibition against calling leaders father is to avoid giving status, fear of man, which is due unto Yahweh. See Job 32, 21, 22. Isaiah 56, 10-12 exposes leaders who never have enough and who keep their followers in spiritual and financial poverty while seeking personal gain. See 1 Timothy 4:3 and religious leaders and unity versus hierarchy. Koburis omits a servant, but this reading is confirmed in all other manuscripts and is in 1905. So footnote 214 was, but he who is greatest among you, let him be a servant to you. So people in positions of power are meant to be servants to the people. Think about that. Are your politicians servants to you, or are they putting on the robes and trying to exalt themselves? Job 32:21. Not I pray, let me show partiality, person to anyone and any man, nor let me flatter. For not I do know how to flatter, soon would take away. For not I do know how to flatter, soon would take me away, my Maker. Isaiah 56, verse 10. His watchmen are blind, they are all nothing, ignorant, they are all dogs, mute, cannot they bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. And yes, they are dogs, fierce, greedy, which never have enough, and they are shepherds, cannot, who understand. They all to their own way. Look, every one for his own gain, for his own territory. Come, one says, I will bring wine, and we will fill ourselves with intoxicating drink, and will be as this day tomorrow, more abundant and much. We continue with verse 14. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you consume the houses of widows, and that for a pretense you lengthen your prayers. Because of this, you will receive greater judgment. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you traverse sea and land, that you might make one proselyte. And when he has become one, you make him double the son of Gehenna that you are yourselves. 2:15. Double upon yourselves, idiom meaning twice more than you are. Okay. Woe to you, blind guides, for you say that whoever swears by the temple is not anything, but who swears by the gold of the temple is guilty. You are blind fools, for what is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifies the gold? And whoever swears by the altar, is it not anything, but he who swears by the offering that is upon it is guilty? You are blind fools. What is greater, the offering or the altar that sanctifies the offering? Therefore, whoever swears by the altar swears by it and all things that are upon it. And whoever swears by the temple swears by it and by he who dwells in it. And whoever swears by heaven swears by the throne of Elohim and by him who sits upon it. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you tithe mint and dill and cumin, and you overlook the weightiest things of Torah, judgment and mercy and faith. Lighter or weightier, kol v'homer, is a principle that Yeshua employs on many occasions. In Matthew 6:30, Yeshua teaches that if Elohim clothes the fields with grass lighter, then how much more will he take care of your needs, weightier? 2:17, the mitzvot, commandments of Yahweh, are characterized as mishpatim, judgments, edu, testimonies, and chochim, statutes. The judgments are the moral or ethical commandments that differentiate right from wrong. Then 2:18, judgment, mercy, and faith. So 2:17, yes, the mitzvot, and Hosea 6:6 and Genesis 15:6 and Habakkuk 2:4. Let's take a look. Hosea 6:6, for mercy I desire, and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of Yah more than burnt offerings. Genesis 15:6, and he believed in Yahweh, and he accounted it to him for righteousness. And he said to him, I am Yahweh who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you land this to possess. Habakkuk 2:4, behold, the proud not is upright, his soul in him, but the just by his faith shall live. Okay, continuing before verse 24. And these things were necessary for you to have done, and these things you should not have forgotten. Blind guides who strain at gnats and swallow camels. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you clean the outside of the cup and of the plate, but inside they are full of extortion and iniquity. Blind Pharisees, first clean the inside of the cup and of the plate, then the outside will be clean also. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like white tombs that appear beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are filled with the bones and all the corruption of the dead. Thus you appear on the outside as righteous men to the sons of men. On the inside you are filled with iniquity and hypocrisy. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you build the tombs of the prophets and you adorn the sepulchres of the righteous. 2:20, a marketing strategy of the Pharisees is to posture themselves as being obedient to Yahweh's prophets and thus appear to legitimize their authority regarding Torah and the prophets. A similar strategy is adopted by Christians who posture themselves as authorities on the Jewish Mashiach, but who instead promote pagan religious traditions. These crucify Mashiach daily by choosing to willfully neglect the word of Yahweh. Harsh words. Verse 30. And you say that if we had been in the days of our forefathers, we would not have been participants with them in the blood of prophets, whereby you witness against yourselves that you are sons of those who killed the prophets, and you also fill up the measure of your forefathers. Serpents, offspring of vipers, how will you flee from the judgment of Gehenna? Behold, because of this, I will send to you prophets and wise men and scribes. Some of them you will kill, and you will execute them on stakes, and some of them you will scourge in your assemblies, and you will pursue them from city to city. So that will come upon you all the blood of the righteous poured out on the earth, from the blood of Havel, who is Abel, son of Adam, until the blood of Zachariah, the son of Brachia, he whom you killed between the temple and the altar. Truly I say to you that all these things will come upon this generation. 2:21, Mashiach in Aramaic, is using the Hebrew canonical order of Tanakh, by referring to the righteous blood of Havel, Abel, recorded in Genesis, and of Zechariah 2, 2 Chronicles, Meshicha is making reference to the first and last book of the Hebrew canon. The meaning of Meshicha's teaching is clear. The blood of every righteous person recorded in all of Scripture will come upon the scribes and the Pharisees. Verse 37, Yerushalayim Urishlim, murderess of the prophets and stoner of those that are sent to her. How often I have desired to gather your children like a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you did not desire it. Behold, your house is left desolate. I say to you that you will not see me from now on until you say, Blessed is he who comes in the name of Master Yahweh. So this is how you speak truth to power. I don't know if anybody can do that these days like Yeshua did it. Jeremiah 22, verse 5. But if not, you will hear words these, myself, by I swear, says Yahweh, that a desolation shall become this house. Psalm 118:26. Blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahweh. We have blessed you from the house of Yahweh. So thinking about what we just read, any person can become corrupted with power, and we should not be seeking power. We should be seeking our relationship, pitching our tent with Yahweh and Yeshua. Thank you.